Hey guys, it's Steve at Self Sovereignty. I'm a PSYCH-K facilitator, and in this episode of the Self Sovereignty podcast, we're going to explore limiting beliefs with special guest Elaine Canepa, a transformation catalyst and fellow PSYCH-K facilitator. But before we get into the interview, let's have a quick overview on limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs is a belief or thought that you hold about yourself, others, or the world that constrains or restricts your actions, potentials, and possibilities. These beliefs are often self-imposed and are typically negative or pessimistic in nature. They can limit your personal growth, hinder your success, and prevent you from reaching your full potential. Limiting beliefs can take various forms, such as, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve happiness, and so on. These beliefs can be deeply ingrained and may originate from past experiences, upbringing, societal influences, or other sources. They act as a mental barrier that hold you back from pursuing your goals, taking risks, and exploring new opportunities. Overcoming limiting beliefs is an important part of personal development and achieving one's full potential. It involves identifying and challenging these negative thought patterns and replacing them with more powerful, positive, empowering beliefs, and taking actions that align with your desired goals and aspirations. And PSYCH-K is by far one of the best science-based techniques available for addressing and changing limiting beliefs. Coming up next is a short segment from a previous interview I conducted with Elaine Canepa, a transformation catalyst and PSYCH-K facilitator.
So as a transformation catalyst, the way I see my role, the idea of a catalyst is something that sparks change or sparks the beginning of a change process. So the PSYCH-K work is extremely transformative. And so I came up with the term transformation catalyst because I just love to be in this supportive role. I don't heal people or fix people or give them a prescription. I am not a therapist. Rather, what I do is I have a set of basic protocols, is what we call them. And I listen to my clients or my partners, as we call it in PSYCH-K, rather than a client. I listen to my partners. I listen for what sounds like a limiting belief or an area of struggle. And then I support them in choosing the words, the thoughts, the meaning that they want to give to a new belief or how they want their life to look. So the nice thing about this modality is it's incredibly empowering. It's rooted in the concept of choice. And we certainly live in a world sometimes where we feel limited in our choices. So that's one of the pieces I love most about PSYCH-K. The partner, the client, is always the person that is choosing how to move through a particular belief. So I provide like the treasure map. We go on a treasure hunt together, and then the partner is actually the person that's holding the flashlight, and we're walking through the woods together to find the gems or the treasure.
Now, you mentioned limiting beliefs. Let's talk about that a little bit, because with PSYCH-K, we're really talking about the conscious mind and the subconscious mindset. And the limiting beliefs are those beliefs that we have, that we hold, that we instill within our subconscious mind that are really kind of preventing us from moving forward in some of those key areas that you mentioned. It may be health, it may be relationships, it may be some level of an anxiety. But can you kind of take that and describe in a little bit more detail what we're talking about as it relates to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind? Absolutely.
So I'll address your question in kind of two parts. First, we'll kind of look at the mind, the two levels of mind. I'm not a scientist, so I won't go super deep into this, but this is really important. So we have the conscious mind, which is, I think this, I choose this, I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to go see a friend, I'm going to make a lot of money. So we think that the conscious mind is actually driving the car most of the time. In actuality, the subconscious mind, it's been found through research, actually drives 95% of what's going on in our mind, with only 5% being in this conscious place of choice. So we may think that we're choosing all day long, but so often what's really driving our choices is the subconscious and the beliefs that are in the subconscious. So an example of a limiting belief would be, there's never enough. I'll never get what I truly want. I'll have to work really hard to succeed or be seen. I'm not worthy of love. These would be examples of limiting beliefs. Now, these limiting beliefs can be kind of sneaky, and they can hijack our lives, and they hijack our lives pretty often. Say someone has repeatedly tried to have a successful relationship, but every time they live out the same exact pattern, it's just a different person sitting on the other side of the table. Well, perhaps there is a limiting belief of, I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of attention. But so often we don't know that these little limiting beliefs, or sometimes really large limiting beliefs, are lurking underneath. So in our work together, we identify where those limiting beliefs lie, and we figure out what you want instead. So instead of believing that you're not worthy of love or worthy of a beautiful relationship, what would you like? I am worthy of love. I am worthy of being in a beautiful relationship. We rewrite that and program that new belief at the subconscious mind so that reality then begins to meet us at this new place.
So when we think of a limiting belief like that, like I am not worthy of love, consciously, I would think, for the most part, everyone would consciously think, I am worthy of love. But what you're saying is there's something in the subconscious mindset, for whatever reason, however it got there, whenever it got there, that's subconsciously making me think or feel that I'm not worthy of love. And so I guess my question is, where do these limiting beliefs come from? How do they materialize in our life along the way? And then what you're saying is, and maybe it doesn't matter where they come from, but we have the ability to reach deep inside our subconscious mind and change that to a more favorable belief to meet our current desires, goals, and such. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You summed it up beautifully. I can give an example. All right. Okay. So I've always, tried new sports, but I never was really that good at it. So I did a little work, and I went back to a time in my life when I was about 5 years old, and my mom took me to the doctor, and he said, your daughter has severe something in her brain. Now, mind you, this was in the 70s. They couldn't do, I don't think they did MRIs. He just did an assessment, did the little hammer on my knee or whatever they did back then. And he said, oh, your daughter has this condition, this severe condition where she's just always going to be terribly uncoordinated. She will never really do very well at sports. She'll always be kind of awkward. She'll always be kind of slow, but you can help her develop like her school talents and these other things, but just basically the physical side, she's never going to be, much of an athlete, right? I was 5, right? So there was this doctor telling my mother this. So consequently, I was never put in any sports programs, and I was never encouraged to do sports. Mm-hmm. And I believed that I was clumsy. I would try, I played volleyball sort of really poorly when I was in 9th grade. And I continued to feel like a failure around these athletic pursuits. So when I came to this work in PSYCH-K, I did a lot of work around my physical abilities. And through the processes with a facilitator that was supporting me at the time, I had memories of actually the doctor having this conversation with my mom. and my mom not encouraging me to do sports. So we saw the subconscious belief around I'm clumsy, I'm uncoordinated, I'm not ever going to succeed. So you can think how that can affect a child developing. It may be something around, my body's inadequate. Like, that's not really where I went, but who knows what can develop in the mind of a little person when something like this happens. And then you may get the elements of shame around, I'm just never good enough. I'm never going to be able to play sports. Then you get to see how these things begin to play out in somebody's life. Okay. I consider this a faulty foundation. So with PSYCH-K, we can identify these pieces like detective work and create what you really want instead.
So that's interesting. So in this case, what you described with sports for you, you were able to go back and identify a certain point in time or situation that kind of led you to this perspective of self-doubt from a sports perspective. So you were able to unpack it. But what about an individual that has some level of an anxiety, for example? Let's say somebody's afraid of heights. I don't know why I'm afraid of heights. I've just always been afraid of heights. I don't want to be afraid of heights because, it impedes my ability to do some of the things that I might want to do now. I might want to go hiking. I might want to go clean, go up on a ladder and clean my gutters or something like that. Is PSYCH-K a process where you have to be able to go back and think through, in my formative years, how I came to believe this limiting belief or have this limiting belief? Or is it a process where that doesn't really matter? Let's rewrite that into a belief that is positive and aligned with what you're aspiring to do.
That's a great question. And the answer is no. You don't have to go back and dig through your past or dig through your rubble. Again, this isn't therapy. So a facilitator or transformation catalyst, I don't encourage my clients to tell a long story. I was using that story to illustrate, the concept of beliefs. But the beauty is that, for instance, your discomfort with heights. So we don't ever have to know where this came from. We simply know what the information that's at hand. I'm afraid of heights. I don't want to be afraid of heights. I love to hike. I want to climb up the ladder. I want the freedom to do this. So in the case like this, we could use a certain change process to address the current state of discomfort or distress that you feel when you think about walking up a mountain. And in this case, there doesn't necessarily have to be new words or a new belief created. We simply let the process work to shift from a place of discomfort or disconnect into a place of more peace and non-attachment around the walking up the mountain or climbing up the ladder. So the beauty of it is you don't have to have conscious knowledge of how you got to where you are. We start where you are, and we simply find out, what is it you want instead, Steve? Do you want to be able to climb a mountain or climb up a ladder? And you'd say, absolutely, I want that freedom. We would do a PSYCH-K belief change process, and then we would take it from there and see what shows up next.
I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and remember, the answer is within you to build a better you and to own your destiny. Take care and God bless.